Hello everybody. On today's episode, I'm going to do another soup. This one's going to be a Potage Saint-Germain. Now, Potage Saint-Germain is associated with the Comte de Saint-Germain, who was a general during the times of Louis XV. And basically it's a split pea soup. This one's going to have vegetables only, no meat. You could add, but I'm not. Anyways, let's check it out. As with any soup, we're going to need our base ingredients, which is a mirepoix, celery, carrots, and onions, all in proportion to each other, or 1 to 1 to 1. Now this is very important because it adds a sweetness to your soup, texture, and a hint of savoriness. You can't have a dry split pea soup without dried split peas. We're going to use between 1.5 cups to 2 cups in this particular case. It's a good protein, lots of minerals, and it's easy to digest. However, you do need time. In addition, I like to add a clove of garlic, sometimes 2. Anyhow, first step is to soak our dried peas for at least 8 to 12 hours. You can't start without it. This gives the peas time to absorb and to soften, and enjoy the outside of it. It's important to chop everything into the same size, that way it all cooks at the same time. Speaking of which, I'm going to add some thyme and bay leaves to the soup. This is an important flavoring, makes everything taste that much better. So after 8 hours have elapsed, we take our drained peas and we put them in a pot. And we're going to cover it with water and bring it up to a boil for about 5 minutes. Remember, always important to skim it too. Now it's also important that you do not add any salt at this point. That turns everything gray. So just remember, bring it to the boil, skim as you go, let it go for 5 minutes, then we're going to drain it again. So once we've drained our partially cooked peas, I'm going to put them into a clean pot, and then we're going to add our garlic and our mirepoix and our herbs as well. Now once everything's assembled in the pot, I'm covering it with vegetable stock. Now you want it to cover at least by 1.5 inches to 2 inches of any kind of liquid. I'm using vegetable stock, but you could use chicken stock, water, whatever you have on hand. The main thing is to cover your vegetables. Split peas absorb a lot of liquid, and you don't want it to run dry. It'll become thick and stodgy. So we let it cook for about 40 minutes, and once everything is tender, you're going to either put it in a blender, a food mill, just render it all into a nice uniform soup consistency. And once that's done, you'll notice that it's shiny, slightly thickened, and it's ready for seasoning. If you put salt in too early, it changes the color, and also sometimes it makes beans and peas very tough. So remember, once you're finished cooking, add your salt, pepper, maybe even a touch of cayenne if you want. Time for a garnish. So I'm going to make a very quick crouton. Put about 2.5 tablespoons of butter into a frying pan, wait until it foams up, cut up some bread into a nice shape, and fry it on both sides. And Potage Saint-Germain, sometimes they add fresh peas. I don't have any, so I'll have to do without this time, but a good piece of fried bread always makes a difference. Anyways, we fry it until it's golden on both sides. You and sprinkle it with parsley if you like. Drain it, put it on top of your soup. Share, like, and subscribe.